Exercise 10, and we are ready for our...
8:20.
Yeah. And we are ready for our first edition of our Muscle Talk.
Yeah!
Our podcast / live stream / YouTube / everything.
Yeah?
Everything we would like it to be.
Yes.
So,
It's
welcome.
kind of like the most things in life.
Yes.
It can be anything you want it to be.
But this talk will be mostly about health and fitness, whether it's talking about the latest exercise trends. It could be our own latest developments, whether it's new things we're trying out in the gym, new exercises, or maybe new health things such as diet or cardio.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and as this will be our first edition of the first episode.
Yes, episode 1!
Exactly. Then we are gonna introduce ourselves, and then maybe we will post a little in the end, if we feel like it.
Yeah.
If we have time.
Yeah. And if any lovely person would like to chat with us, they can do that here on Twitch.
Pop up in the chat.
Yes.
Let us know.
Exactly. Slide into our DMs.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. Well, I think it's kind of worth, just saying a little bit about our background. I think that's the best way to start.
Yes. You wanna go?
Yeah, sure. Ladies first, I guess. Well, about me, I think what is like a little bit more interesting about my background is that I grew up in a family of coaches. Again, not necessarily bodybuilding and fitness coaches, but my parents met in sports academy, and my mom has a master's in sports science in coaching and athletics, and my dad in football or soccer, depending on which part of the world you're in. I grew up doing a ton of sport, even as a kid. Kind of fitness and sport was super important for my family, so I had a lot of exposure to both theory and practice, and funny enough, theory as well, because my parents really felt the need to explain a lot of things. So I think I was like 3 or 4 years old when my dad started and explained to me the principles of circuit training, or like plateaus and like spikes of performance, and how you build mesocycles and whatever. And it's kind of funny because he was still studying for his exams for university when my parents got married quite young, and I had me pretty young. They were still at university. But yeah, this kind of like type of theory, or like ATP and like different sports and physiology and biomechanics theory was like dropped onto me very, very early in life. So I kind of grew up with it. I've done some sports in my youth, and yeah, it's just in general, I've been always very, very interested in sports and nutrition. I've been a chef myself, so I like cooking, I like thinking about food, thinking about nutrition, training. I'm quite passionate about biomechanics. Very well, we had our own company, Form First, which was to do with like kinematics of like human movement and stuff like this. So nothing really, specific, but I have a feeling like I've been around sport and I have a pretty good sense of many things to do around sports and fitness. So yeah, I guess I'm a coach by heart, but I don't really coach for money. So
No.
I
At
can
least
just,
not yet.
yeah, exactly. I can just go and unsolicitedly do, give my advice to unsolicited advice to random people in the gym.
Yeah. What? Maybe tell a little about the different kind of sports you've done, both back then and then recently.
Well, I started with handball. It's my, you never forget your first love. Then I moved to basketball, which I practiced from maybe being 14 to being 17, 18. I played a tiny bit professionally, and by professionally I mean I was paid to play.
Yeah.
Tiny bit, but it sounds fancy.
Yeah.
And then I pretty much didn't do anything for 10 years until I got to a weight that I didn't like, and I was like, oh shit, I need to drop these 3 kilos. And then I got back to the gym. Regular bodybuilding or fitness was like not very interesting to me, so got introduced to CrossFit, which we did for quite a while. I did, you did a little later, joined me.
Yeah.
And now we're back into bodybuilding because I now get it. I think I really didn't get it, and we can talk about it at some point, but I really didn't get it when I was all the years that I would end up in a commercial gym or like trying to do some type and shape of bodybuilding. I really didn't get it. I didn't comprehend what it is, how I should train, what is the result. And it's kind of funny because I always wanted to look a certain way. So yes, of course, performance and be able to do stuff was very, very important, but aesthetics were also very important. So I'm very, very happy right now. You know, and we're getting more and more into just bodybuilding start and hypertrophy training. So long road, but yeah, this is in short the just a 15-minute quick introduction of like the Laura's life and training background. Yeah.
Cool.
You've been doing it for like just a million years.
Quite a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I first stepped into the gym when I was 15 or 16. Back then you had to get a signature from your parents that you can go to a gym, because I don't know actually, I think it was something to do with liability and stuff, because we were juniors in a gym perspective. So I was in a small gym in Horsens where we could only be in one room, which had the baby machines. Not baby machines, but it was a designated room where there were classes for younger people. So I went there with a buddy, and yeah, I liked it. I had some time before that where I was into swimming. I went once a week because I had to do something. I was pretty much into gaming, so I didn't do much sports back then.
Gamer boy.
Gamer boy.
You still are into gaming.
Yeah, but I don't game that much.
Because you train more.
Yeah, I train more now. Train a little bit more. So yeah, and I pretty much had a gym subscription since, let's say, 16. And been doing it since, with varying degrees of success. Yeah, I would say I always train to look better in what I think is looking better, like being more muscular and of course not being too fat. I've never trained to be strong. No. Of course I tried the occasional few weeks of trying 5x5 out, like 5 sets of 5 reps. Trying that thing out. I didn't really like it that much. I was more into the higher rep range, up to 12 reps. So more for hypertrophy, which I still do. Then I think it was start of 22, I went into CrossFit, like Laura mentioned. It was really fun. I liked all the new things you could learn, because suddenly it wasn't just pulling in a machine or pushing a barbell or throwing a dumbbell around like you would do in a commercial gym. So
there was a lot of throwing of dumbbells.
Yeah, that is true. So suddenly there were other aspects. There were gymnastics, there were more technique work, for example in weightlifting, a lot of cardio, a lot of grind, a lot of grit, which I really enjoyed. It was really nice, and I did well. I learned a lot of the skills pretty fast. Yeah. I did have a head start because I had some strength built up already. Yeah. Which people that just start out training and want to do CrossFit, one of their major obstacles is the lack of strength. I think so, yeah. And if you again, just a tiny comment, but if you think about it, I know CrossFit hasn't been a sport for that long, so a lot of the most successful athletes right now are, have transitioned from another sport. But I couldn't agree more. Like if I'm to start training kids in CrossFit, one of the big, like I would probably keep them for several years on almost purely like a strength kind of programming, like not too much shenanigans and throwing shit and weights around or whatever, but just building really this foundational strength. I guess it would be a focus on the foundational strength and then skills Not so much the conditioning and endurance, because that you can build relatively quick compared to
absolutely strength and technique is definitely.
So I guess it was actually 21 I started my CrossFit I did it for a year and a half, and then I got injured in the quarterfinals last year in 2022.
Yeah.
My hip still nags me a little bit, but I can do almost everything I want. I have to warm up a little bit more. And
it was those overhead lunges, wasn't it? Wasn't it some overhead lunges?
It was overhead lunges, but I think it was just a combo of, I think it was the second or third quarterfinal workout, and it was just a lot of lunges. And I was strong, but maybe my joints and ligaments wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
So I basically couldn't stand on the leg afterwards. But and then there was spring last year. Then I spent the remaining of that year not being able to train legs. I could do leg extensions, I could do leg curls, but nothing compound.
You also dropped a lot of weight.
I did drop a lot of weight also. So, but at the end of last year, I guess it was autumn, I was fully back in bodybuilding, without the legs of course, and here we are now, better than ever.
And I would really, we don't have to do it, but we can do it perhaps another time, and that could be a good note. I really want to talk about this injury and how and what happened and
how we handled it.
How you handled it or didn't handle it, and I really, really hope that this will be kind of some kind of a, just to share a little bit of inspiration and just a little bit of knowledge to people, because I think people deal with injuries in a different ways, and I think I don't think there's, of course, one size fits all, or there's like this best recommendation, but I think there are better ways and worse ways of dealing with injury, both physiologically and psychologically, and maybe we can take this sometime. I think it's an important talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
what's been up and down lately?
Well, lately we've been trying out our new training philosophy.
Our new training philosophy.
I could say we have fallen in love, but Laura definitely fell hardest and the fastest in love with Renaissance Periodization with Dr. Mike Israel. So right now we are
Dr. Mike, if you're watching, there's a lot of things in my book about you.
You can get that one.
And also Jared Feather.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe you can talk a little bit about what they are for, like what they enjoy and what they preach.
Well, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna do them justice. Like trying to kind of just try and explain their philosophy of training, but just in short terms, these guys are very much around like full range of motion, camp. It is definitely quality over quantity. I can say that they are definitely within the camp of something that I really, really like is creating like a lot of hypertrophy promoting stimuli for the muscles without creating a ton of systemic fatigue. So basically it's like really intense and exhausting sets that don't fry you overall, and they don't tire you fully, like in your body and in your head. So this is the kind of general philosophy that I really, really like, and it is almost always like a super control eccentric with a pause in the stretch position, which we now know, and a lot of people have picked it up. It's like really, really hypertrophy promoting. So working at the stretch position of the muscle, or at the extension, or at the top of the eccentric, however you want to think of it, but basically when your muscle is most stretched. And kind of really focusing on that part, and it's like a really big deal. And I can say it's I don't know if it works for hypertrophy yet, because we've been doing it for just a couple of weeks, but oh my god, it's like it's like I'm sore from like a third of the amount of sets that used to do. It's insane.
So basically slashing your volume in
Absolutely.
3 almost.
Almost.
Yeah, introduces way bigger drums.
Yes, they're also very, very big on frequency rather than volume. And again, I know that depends on the person, and but I think most normies and most natties would really benefit of frequency rather than, let's say, 1 giga chest pump workout kind of thing.
Yeah, I think most people get that, but still there are a lot of questions about how much should you train, how much should you not train, like how sore should I be, or how much volume should I be doing 10 sets of chest every workout or every week?
Yeah, I think it was Jimi Hendrix. I don't know if it was. Maybe somebody can correct me, but I think it was Jimi Hendrix who said it's not about the notes that you play, it's about the notes that you don't play. Basically the pauses that you take, the strategic pauses you take. So I also think about this. Maybe it's especially when you're dedicated in gym and in fitness, it's not just about how, you know, what you train and how much you train, but also how much you don't train. Like you actively make a decision to not go there.
Exactly.
And not go cuckoo for cocoa and just...
Yeah, because you have been having some trouble finding out how much volume should you actually do.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely, and then especially now with this new style of training, it is so much, there is like a lot to reflect on. Like, for example, I can do like 5 sets of quads these days, and I can't walk the other day, the day after, and the second day soreness is just hell. But at the same time, I feel like there are certain muscles that I can train way more and way more often. And again, of course, I need to have the talk with myself and try to reflect and figure out, is it because is it because they recover very well? Is it because they are so strong, which I don't think is the case, but you know, it's also a possibility, and not very likely one, but it is a possibility. And I'm thinking, or is it possible that they are actually so weak that they can't get a pump, they can't get a good workout, so then I can do 1,000,000 reps with them, and it doesn't really matter because, you know, I just can't engage the muscle very, very well.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that one thing that I can say, that as I have been training, you know, like a little more focused for the past 1 year bodybuilding, I mean, I've been, in all fairness, I've been doing bodybuilding for like 1.5 years.
Yeah.
So, but for the past 1 year, I've been way more serious about it. And I think that I can definitely see that I established better mind-muscle connection with certain muscles that I focus on.
Yeah.
My biceps is this, I can flex it better, I get better pumps, I can feel it better. I feel the stretch, I feel when I, you know, I can push it more. So it definitely improves like the mind-muscle connection, the pump, the strength, the kind of mastery of the muscle, so to say. Also in flexing, when posing and stuff like this, definitely comes in with practice and with focus. So now I just need to reflect. For example, my glutes, I have not been able to find a good sustainable way to train my glutes in a way that I go, oh my god, this is an insane glute workout. I love this.
Yeah.
And I keep experimenting, and I'm also open to the idea that my technique might be bad. As I said, my glutes might be too weak to really get a good activation, a good pump, and a good workout. And you know what? I'm just gonna like keep doing it. I'm just gonna bump up the frequency a little bit, and just keep experimenting and keep iterating until I find a really good workout. Yeah. But like what I've seen from other muscles, like I said, my triceps, my biceps, my quads, I think are good examples. The more you work it and the more focus, and I'm not talking about focus in terms of programming, I'm talking focus when you are doing your exercises. Yeah. I think it definitely helps the central nervous system to really establish that connection, that mind-muscle connection. and then you are in a really good spot to actually exercise it, because then you can really push it. Then perhaps you can reduce the number of sets that you need to, because you have to just accept that when you don't have a good mind-muscle connection, you're gonna have a lot of empty reps and a lot of empty sets.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be doing a lot of work that is probably not hitting the targeted muscle that you want to. You're probably doing a lot of extra work. You're probably accumulating just systemic fatigue, but not local. Kind of hypertrophy promoting fatigue within the muscle, and it's basically a lot of waste, and you have to accept this, I think. And in order to move to less wasteful training, I think you also need to really put your focus on the moment of the moment of training. So
I see what you mean, because I have also felt the same. I've had some muscle groups which wasn't until this year where I've finally perfected the technique, or really cared enough about actually working out these small details.
What would that be for?
One of the things would be my glutes. Like, was first time, I think it was this summer, where I actually felt a pretty heavy pump glute. Glute pump. Yeah. So, and that was mainly because of some technique cues and also a little different exercises. Yeah. My leg training in the past, especially before CrossFit, was very standard, I would say. Maybe it was sets of squats and then some machines, but never like targeted glute, for example. So that was one of the things, and recently I'm also been struggling and trying to figure out my back workouts, because as you said, like, you feel like you can do 5 sets of quads and you're done, because you can't possibly activate your quad anymore almost.
No.
But other muscle groups you can just keep going, and I almost feel that way with my back. I can do 10 to 12 sets. I have been doing 10 to 12 sets of back in one workout the past few weeks, and yes, I get tired, but does I feel the same pump as I would do in my quads or my hamstrings or my biceps for that sake? Not really. I'm getting there.
Do you think it's that a little bit of like what I was describing? Perhaps you don't have the same well-established connection.
I think so. Because we've also established that my back is not as developed as my other muscle parts, so I haven't been training back the most efficient way, I would think, in a long time.
Yeah, we're laughing a little bit about it, but I see more and more people with not very well established back, and I just, as I told you, I wonder if it is because like you just don't look at yourself in the mirror enough, or
it's hidden away.
or maybe a good back pump is not exactly the visually satisfying thing of like a chest pump or a biceps pump, where you can really look at yourself in the mirror and you go, yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at me, I'm so jacked.
Exactly. So yeah, that is a little bit of the lifestyle, or not lifestyle, but the training philosophy of Dr. Mike.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier, I've tried many different things. I've tried, I guess the biggest hit for me was just volume training, doing a lot of volume, and trying to keep the frequency at twice per week. But I must admit that this new training philosophy of going ultra slow down, whether it's 2 to 3 seconds depending on the exercise, having a good squeeze, or not squeeze, but hold at the stretch position, and then exploding up, it's really working. I'm getting sore, like I feel my hamstrings from 4 sets of hamstrings yesterday, which is amazing.
Yes. And it's like really cool to be in a way, like I really like training, and I enjoy the results of it, and when I'm in the gym I love it, but I'm also sitting there thinking, oh man, like 2+ hours every time. I'm like, gee, that's a long time in the gym.
Yeah.
Like I would very, very happily reduce this time, and again I take a lot, huge rest again, but that's something that I need to work on as well, because that's part of the problem that I have that takes a lot of time in the gym. But you've been doing something which sounds very, very cool and very, very crazy and controversial if like not explained, especially for beginners. And again, I think it's very important to mention that this is something that is definitely more suitable or more suited for, I would say, either really advanced athletes or beginners that are trying to figure some stuff out.
Yeah.
the whole premise and what this is the whole idea of you go to kind of not necessarily show up at the gym, but on the day of training you decide what you want to train.
Exactly.
You want to...
Yeah, it's usually I've been doing the push-pull legs, I would say, at least before this year. This year I've been doing more combo of very specialized training of hitting legs almost every time, whether it was quad, hamstring or glute. That was cool. It was a little too much because you can't really isolate the hamstring and glutes that well. You hit them a little bit together, depending on what you do. But then we looked into this video of the most popular training splits where he mentioned push-pull legs, upper and lower, and then full body with a modification, which is what I'm trying out right now.
Yeah.
I've been trying it out for, I guess, is it 3 weeks or 4 weeks?
3 weeks now?
Yeah, 3 weeks. So there's probably different opinions on it, but the way I understand it and the way I'm trying it out is that you go with the intent to the gym to train everything. But where the catch is that you have to train what's ready. And of course with your prioritizations in mind. So yesterday I did hamstring and chest and shoulders. So obviously today, if I were to train, I wouldn't train the same. I would train what I prioritize. I prioritize my quads, so I would probably start with quads first. Then I would do some back, and then maybe some arms. So, and obviously calves, because we do train on calves here.
Crazy.
Exactly. So, and then let's say tomorrow comes. My shoulders are ready, my chest might not be, then I train shoulders again. If it's the opposite, then I train my chest again.
Yeah.
And also the same with my hamstrings and glutes.
Yeah.
So I really like this because it gives me more freedom and I get like the illusion of I can choose what I want to train. In reality, I choose depending on my prioritizations, but it gives me this nice feeling of I'm actually in control, and to me it makes sense because some people like to lay out their workout week the same every week. It has its upsides, I understand that, but if you only do legs on Monday and Friday, what if they're ready Wednesday? What if your legs can take more volume or they recover faster than you think?
Yeah. Or they don't.
Or they don't, exactly. It could be perfect.
And then you keep training.
Yeah.
Or let's say you do legs,
And you never recover.
Yes, and I think so. Here comes the point of like why I think this is a really, really good idea. And again, that has to be done very deliberately. This type of training has to be done very deliberately, with a focus and with an intent in mind, and not just showing up at the gym and training what you like. We do have a friend of ours who has she has the biggest boulder shoulders, and she's a competing athlete, but she's really, really lacking on her lower body. Why? Because she shows up to the gym and she goes like, what do I feel like training? Well, and she has no priorities. So then she goes like, I like to train my shoulders. And then she starts with shoulders, and then, you know, an hour and a half later, after her doing guns, she's a super pro. But, you know, like training shoulders and arms, she has no energy for legs. And then she goes home, and then she comes back the day after and she's like, what do I feel like training? Well, my triceps is not too sore, let's train triceps again. And then she has like huge arms and, you know, and shoulders, but no legs. And she doesn't want to compete in, essentially, in figure. Yeah, in figure. And while figure looks for a little bit more balanced physique, it's still, you still need to have a well developed legs and glute, and have like you do need to have a balanced physique. And
definitely.
Her applying this methodology of like showing up at the gym and thinking, what do I want to train today? It's, you know, the wrong way of applying this, because I think she doesn't have priorities which are logically you know, kind of set there for her based on what she needs to work on her weaknesses. Another big benefit of this is also to figure out, for example, I never really thought about how fast certain muscles for me recover. And again,
Especially.
maybe, and then I'm not saying because my tricep is like super triceps or whatever, completely the opposite. I think because I lack a good mind muscle connection and I can't get very good pumps, I can train triceps pretty much 3-4 times a week, if not to say 5 times. I can train triceps almost every day. It is becoming less and less the case now because I think my technique has been improving, my pumps have been improving, so this is also changing. It's something dynamic. But once when I start asking myself, what can I train, how often? Well, I can train certain muscles super often, and as I said, like my legs, I can't. I'm sore as hell. And at the same time, my glutes, I just can't. I trained glutes yesterday. I think I could go and train them today again.
Yeah. You feel ready and recovered?
In a way, yes. No, I feel a little tired, a little pumped, but I feel like I can go and hit another session like this.
It's not like you stand up and your glutes are screaming like your hamstrings or quads would be.
Yes, exactly. So I do think it's because I cannot, get the same quality of stimuli during my training. So that's why I'm saying that coming back to the being a beginner or being an advanced, and I think I'm neither, funny enough.
Yeah.
I think it's good to get your the reflection on how often can you train a particular muscle, how how quickly you recover in terms of recovery, and that could be due to many different reasons. But just focusing on how quickly you recover, how frequent can you can you train a particular muscle. This I think is very good for beginners to establish a baseline, but I think it's also very good for advanced lifters, so they can kind of figure out what kind of gains they might be dropping on the floor by having, as you said, this like super structured thing of like, this is when I train quads and this is when I train hamstrings, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I could be recovered, I could be sore as fuck, but I will still, because my program says so.
Exactly. Well, I think it's very cemented in the culture or it has been at least, because I don't know if you know, but many people always say that Monday is International Chest Day.
No, I heard it's International Legs Day, I don't know.
No, it's chest day.
It's legs day.
No, it's not.
No.
So you walk into the gym and all the benches are occupied, and you say, you realize, oh shit, yes, it's Monday. It's International Monday. Chest Day, which is on Mondays.
Yes.
So, but yeah, like you mentioned, our girlfriend who doesn't seem to, who does full body but doesn't have her priorities in check.
Yeah.
Like she trains what she would like to, but she doesn't have her priorities in check.
Yeah.
And then a few years down the line of doing whatever she feels like when going to the gym, she just have a body out of proportion. Some muscles are bigger than others, and
definitely.
And as we know, muscles take hell of a long time to build. So correcting those, how do you say?
Asymmetries that are created.
Asymmetries, yeah.
And again, asymmetry can be, just one thing to point to those that like when we say asymmetry, we all usually think like left to right. So we mean, is my right biceps bigger than my left one? But asymmetry could be also upper and lower body, very well. To all our wonderful followers and people who would watch and listen and hear, but I refer to a physique that is extremely well developed on the top and not developed on the bottom. I refer to this as a lollipop physique, because it just looks like everything that you care about is going on the top, and then you have just like a stick on the bottom. And to me, it's so unattractive. And I know that men's physique, like the board shorts kind of category, only judges the upper body, but it's still you want to have even those guys. Some of them are very well developed on the bottom.
Yes. Definitely.
But
the thing is, they have a weight cap too, I imagine, and
you want to maximize the weight cap on the top.
Exactly. At least those, depending on the category and what's expected by the judges, but that depends. Do you dedicate yourself 100% to competition, or do you dedicate some of yourself also to what you really like to do? Because if you know you have the frame and the genetics perfect for men's physique,
Yeah.
but you really like to train legs, but you also want to do great in competitions as men's physique,
Yeah.
then you have to make a choice. Do you want to train legs or accept have
Definitely.
smaller legs and a
Definitely.
big top, because that's what fits in your
Category.
division or
Yeah.
category. Yeah.
Exactly. But I also want to say that just finishing on the being asymmetric is one thing that I also see more in men than in women is the front to back asymmetry.
Yeah.
Because again, it's easy to think, a top is developed, bottom is underdeveloped, or vice versa. Even though I almost have never seen anybody that has jacked legs and like small on the top.
No.
Like guys just love to train.
There was that guy at the FNA last year, do you remember, in bodybuilding? He looked a little like we called him a farmer's boy. He had great legs, but his upper body wasn't that
Was
dirty.
lacking?
Yeah.
Oh,
not like
yeah.
He was developed
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
top, but
but
his
definitely
legs were
insane.
great. Yeah.
Yes.
His legs were
But
great.
I'm just saying that you don't have the asymmetry of the lollipop physique very often. You know, you don't have a reverse lollipop.
No.
What would a reverse lollipop
Have you
be?
seen Robert Fosterman?
What would be a reverse lollipop?
Oh,
Like what would be like
I don't know.
everything is on the bottom and nothing is on the top?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
An empty barrel?
It's well, yeah.
But I just want to say about like the whole front and back kind of asymmetry. We see this so much with guys, like, and I think maybe you were a little bit in that ballpark, you know, because you look at yourself in the mirror and you just want to train chest, biceps. And yes, you do back days, but you don't really put that much, that much effort in it. And then suddenly you look like a flipping gorilla, like, because you're like almost like slouch forward, huge front shoulders, huge pecs that are pulling you forward, huge biceps, and then you look at the back and you're like, why's all that?
Yeah. You've been benching with your front shoulder and your
Yeah,
whole life.
exactly.
So your front shoulders are overdeveloped and you have no back, so you're going like
Yeah,
gorilla
exactly.
mode. Yeah.
Exactly, complete gorilla mode. So this is also another asymmetry,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people don't consider this. And one thing that I've definitely seen getting into bodybuilding is that symmetry is so important.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about being the biggest motherfucker or being gigadized or whatever, which is very important. But again, you are judged, and coming to competition, you are judged on a certain level of symmetry. And I think a lot of people want to have a really balanced and good physique, but they also don't want to work on their weaknesses and they just want to train what they like to train.
Exactly.
So I think this is definitely a trap of what you have been doing. So if you don't have your priorities, if you don't have the weaknesses you want to hit and you want to target, this type of train whatever you feel like on the day is a really bad idea, because then you can end up a freak a little bit, like with a freak physique and not in a good way, and then it just looks weird.
You gotta stay true to your goals. If your goals is to have giga biceps, then you have to train biceps.
Which is cool. Yeah, exactly.
But if you're looking for a balanced physique and you want to do this full body every day with a modification, then you have to stay true to yourself and really think, should I really train biceps for the third time this week, or should I actually prioritize my legs, which is also my goal.
They're very skinny, yeah.
So.
No, I completely agree. Yeah, definitely. And again, it's very, very cool if you want to have bigger biceps, but I'm sitting there thinking that who would say, oh, I want to have disproportionately large biceps? Oh, you want to have bigger biceps, you want to prioritize it. Maybe you want it a little bit bigger than other muscles, or you want it a little like dominant. If you think, now that we have just tipped over the Olympia, Ramon had this like very reminiscent of the golden era physique, with like very big arms.
Yeah.
And you get this, but you can't turn around and say the guy is like doesn't have good symmetry. You know, it's a look.
Yeah, it's a look. It's the X-frame.
Exactly, it's the frame. Exactly, it's the overall frame. But there's like an overall picture and an overall vision that you're trying to deliver. And whatever you want to have, like bigger biceps, bigger shoulder, or whatever fits in that overall frame.
Yeah.
Because I think it is something very, very normal for us to just look at something and just kind of accept it as a whole. Like you look at a guy or like you look at a physique and you go, like your first reaction is, oh, I like, or something is off.
Yeah.
And then you start dissecting, but you first accept, like you first
You
comprehend it exactly of the overall impression. So I don't really think that anybody would like to be imbalanced in their physique, even if you don't train for competition. But I think it's very, very easy to get there when you just play by your strengths and you just keep hammering. Yeah, I think it also comes to that, like keep hammering your strengths rather than your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, it's completely understandable if you're really, really strong in squats and you just want to squat.
Exactly, yeah. You just want to squat, because if you're good at squatting, then you'll probably enjoy it.
Yes, you probably enjoy it. You probably have people sitting there, sitting in, telling you in the gym, oh my god, look at you, oh, bro, squat so much. Exactly. And you like it, you get good pumps, you feel good, you feel accomplished and so on. But again, sometimes you need to put your ego on the side and just come in peace with the fact that you have to do things that are tough and you're very weak at, and yeah, your lower back or your rectors will be the thing for you soon.
Yes.
And I know you're really tiptoeing around it. Every time when I mention you training your rectors, and you're like, and you blab something about, oh, not now, I just started a mesocycle. Oh, not now, I'm just on a mini cut. Oh, not now, I'm just started something else. Oh, not now, or whatever. There's always a really, really good excuse. So I wonder when you're gonna run out of excuses.
We'll see.
But yeah, talking about, not now, you are doing a mini cut right now.
Yes, so on top of the new training style and a little bit of new exercises that we started 3-4 weeks ago, then I also started my mini cut, which I've been on for 6 days now.
Yeah.
So the first week will be done by tomorrow night. I'm planning to go at least 3 weeks, probably 4. So 1 week into December, we'll see how I look. It's also a concept we found on the Renaissance periodization.
Yes.
Where you do a short-term cut, so it's not like what you normally see when people mention cutting up to 16 weeks, depending on how fat you are. But this is more 3 to 8 weeks, 3 to 6 weeks.
2 to 6 weeks.
2 to 6 weeks, where you do a bigger than you normally would deficit. So I'm in a 1,000 calorie deficit.
Yeah.
And it's okay so far. I'm definitely more hungry.
Yeah, but it's also short enough, and
exactly. You can see when the light of the end of the tunnel, and it's.
We're also looking at getting a little bit more aggressive bulk for you after that, and I think you building up a little bit of that kind of hunger for food,
exactly.
Like that lust for food, because I think both you and I, in different ways, have a tough time bulking. In a way that at some point you really, really lose your lust for food, and as one of our favorite influencers, what was it, Sienna, what was her tagline? Anyway, what she was saying, cutting is tough, but like sitting there at 11 o'clock in the evening, crying in your beef and rice. Yeah. It's also a not different easy. Type of challenge, and there are different demons to face. But yes, I think bulking and cutting is a very, very, very interesting topic, and something that I also want to, because of course we are nobodies and we are little internet trolls, and I do want to drop some hate. Good vibes only, but I want to drop some. There are a lot of shit that grinds my gear in gyms, and I do want to talk a little bit about bulking and bulking for like natural athletes, and bulking for enhanced athletes, and again, I can't really speak myself about enhanced athletes because I'm natural still for now. Maybe forever, I don't know, but I don't know. I do not know how the body would behave, you know, like either
Yeah, we
gaining.
don't know how our body behaves on when enhanced, like on PEDs. Like we don't know. Like
We do have some information from literature, but I would say it's probably more literature and more information available for men in the PEDs that are for men. I still think there's a lot of lack of information on the effects and results of PEDs on females and the type of PEDs that women take. But we can talk a little bit about bulking and cutting, and I say let's take a 2-minute break. I think I need another coffee. So let's have a little pause, and then we come back. We're going to talk a little bit about bulking and cutting. We're going to drop some hate, and then we can finish off with you posing. So don't drink too much water, because you're going to be all bloated and puffy.
Sure.
Yeah?
2 minutes.
Let's do this.
Thought we were only going to do an hour then.
Yes.
But it's 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes.
I know, but we'll start 10 minutes late, like.
Oh yeah? Seems like there's a lot of noise again. it's picking up too much, it's picking up
Too
the
much
drilling.
gain? Too much gain?
Yeah.
The gain is almost to the minimum. How's like this? Hmm?
Just keep this delay.
Hmm?
I think it's good.
It's good? Yeah?
It's ruining it a little bit, but it's okay.
Can you reduce the gain even more to the max?
No,
Let's reduce the...
after a second.
How is like this?
Yeah. There's like 10 seconds delay, so it goes off.
Yeah, okay. Hello, hello, hello.
I think it's good now.
Perfect.
It's good. No, a little low now.
Yeah. 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 Well, we are back from our break with our little co-host, Luna, who has been very, very sleepy today. Yes, a little. Luna is our oldest cat's kitten,
Yes.
Mia.
One of three.
One of three. And she's a cute little kitten, and she's gonna lay here with us on the sofa for the rest of the remaining of this episode 1 of Muscle Chat.
Exactly.
The narrator. Okay. Talking about bulking and cutting, you are doing a mini cut, and this is definitely something that is very, very interesting. And some of the benefits that we see is the fact that you can quickly drop a little bit of fat. Again, use with caution. You don't do it too long because you don't want to, kind of hinder your cut as well by doing it too long, too aggressively.
Yeah.
Also, in your case, this is something that will help you kind of regain your hunger, literally, like
Exactly.
your desire to eat and to bulk, and your, as we called it, lust for food. And you do want to do a little bit more aggressive cut this time. Aggressive bulk this time as well.
A little more surplus because
You were pretty lean.
yeah, I'm still pretty lean. I haven't cut since last year.
Yeah, really nice. Like I feel like showing a little shoulder as well.
I haven't cut since last year, so just been trying to bulk.
Yeah.
Some periods more successfully than others, but now I think it's time for a little mini cut. So both with the effects of actually wanting to eat again.
Yeah.
So gaining some want to eat, but also there's apparently some more effects like resensitizing.
Resensitizing.
Yeah, to volume again and to specific exercises. So overall, I guess you can view it as a reset of your current progress.
Yeah.
Well, not reset, but of your stimuli and receptions to.
To stimuli, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly how I thought about it. It's more like hitting a little necessary pause on a longer bulk, meaning you are planning to at least myself, I was planning to be in a bulk for maybe a year and a half. As far as I've heard, very, very good for natties in general or just in general, like if you could be on a bulk for 10 years instead of bulking and cutting, you would probably build more muscle.
Yeah.
But you're also probably going to be very fat. you know, if you're bulking for 10. So I think it's the very nice way of like taking a tiny step back so you don't get too fat along the way.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, as you said, like just resensitizing to food, resensitizing to training, and just hitting, it's almost like inhaling, like just kind of, no, sorry, exhaling.
Oh,
It's like-
exhaling.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you,
Taking a breather.
exactly, taking a breather and just going, I'm gonna drop a little bit of weight, you still train, you know, I'm gonna lower my calories, and it's really nice because you barely felt it for the first few days, which I think is very, very normal.
Yes, like physique-wise and energy level-wise, day 1 and 2 was pretty good.
No
I would-
difference, yeah.
I would say day 3, maybe I could feel it a little bit, but day 4, like, oh, it's getting
Yeah.
harder.
And again,
Put in the meme. It's
Yeah.
very funny. It's my favorite meme. No, it's not, but I think it's funny.
but you still have like a good, like, you're like 30% in only.
Exactly, but now I feel like, yes, during the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, I also work Monday to Friday, a normal office job, so I do have other things to do except training.
Yeah.
Doesn't always feel like it, but sometimes, or most of the time I do. So,
But yeah, bulking.
but it's getting harder. In the weekend here, I've been feeling good. I felt like you were saying yesterday, I had so much gold because I could just pick and choose in the evening because I had only eaten like 1,300 calories until 6
Yeah.
p.m.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had so much food and it was great.
Yeah. But you do have a lot of maintenance calories as well.
Exactly, I do. Like my expenditure, I'm using the macro factor app,
Yeah.
which has helped me a lot.
Yeah.
It estimates my daily caloric consumption. I get not caloric consumption, TDEE. So what I'm burning in a day to around 3,800. So me going on a 1,000 calorie deficit like I'm on these weeks is still 2,800 calories. You are at 2,000 calories, 1,900?
Yes, I'm on a bulk at around 2,000 calories plus minus 100,
Exactly. So
depending on my expenditure.
so the way I've structured my mini cut so far is I've eaten close to 2,000 calories before my training, which is usually in the afternoon around 4 or 4:30, and then I've had 800 calories as my evening when I'm home around 7:30.
So you can be full for the evening.
Exactly. So I have a good solid meal in the evening, and I'm also fueled for my workouts in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So it's been working okay. I think myself I look leaner. A little
Yeah,
bit.
I think that you're starting to look leaner.
Yeah.
In a way, like you almost see, like we look at pictures of you day to day, and again, there's a lot of also glycogen that you could be dropping, and
Yeah.
water, and you know, just reducing the salts and the sugars in your body in general. And like I was looking at you going, you know, like no offense, but like you know, I squint between your progress pictures, and I'm like,
Something is happening, but maybe.
But I
not.
really think that it will chisel, it will clear up in the third week. And again, you're not doing this to be competition prep like ready or competition ready or be like super diced, peeled, jacked, and so on. You are doing this to you know, to just, as we said, to have this like resensitization of yeah, for like just get back your hunger for food, get back your
Just be in an optimal state to make gains again.
exactly
And
for
also-
like the no mass phase to have
Exactly.
to have a proper
Yeah.
chunky mass phase.
And as I mentioned, I've been bulking for a long time, and I don't want to get too fat. So it's also a way that I can continue bulking at the expense of taking out 3-4 weeks of
Yeah.
my bulking phase. So
Yeah.
maybe I can extend my bulking with, who knows, 8 to 10 weeks, depending on how hard I go. Yeah, she's very cute. So also the first time I'm doing a mini cut on top of the neo training philosophy. So it's a lot of new things have been
A lot
happening
of
in
new things,
in
yeah.
my training space, but
Yeah,
I enjoy it so far.
yeah, me too. Me too, and I'm like really, yeah, I like this. It makes sense for me, and like yeah, a lot of the things, like the whole, as I said, creating maximum stimuli for minimum systemic fatigue. I did this very much. Oh, girly, finally find a comfy place. Yeah. Little Luna. Yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about bulking, and I think it's worth mentioning we do follow the DFNA very much, and a lot of the athletes we really dig. I mean, DFNA is the Danish Natural Bodybuilding Federation for natural athletes.
Danish Federation of Natural Athletes.
Athletes, yes. So it's basically the Natty Bodybuilding Federation here in Denmark has been picking up a lot in the recent years. We went to see the competition last year. It was amazing. I loved it. Yeah. I screamed like a crazy fangirl.
Yeah, it really got us turned up for trying something similar ourselves.
Definitely.
Whether it's DFNA next year or year again, we'll see. But it's really... Yeah. It really opened our eyes to...
Exactly, it got me very excited. It was super nicely done, and I think it's only going to get better. But we've been following some athletes, and just one thing that... I mean, for people who know me, they know I'm very short-tempered, and a lot of things frustrate me. I do get very pissed off on like stupid people, and hence the unsolicited advice in the gym. But like one thing that's really been grinding my gears is like seeing... Like we've seen a lot of those athletes peeled AF, shredded, dried out, little pruny prunes, shredded, peeled, diced on stage. Yeah. You see them 3 months later, and they look like a blob of lard.
Like cubes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, like who does that? And you know what, and again, I want to say, because a lot of them, and again, I can say because I'm an old hag, like I am 36 years old, young, whatever, but like, I can say that no, I'm not a coach, and this is probably one of the reasons why I'm not a coach. But like, what kind of coaches are coaching these athletes? They are kids, they are in their 20s. Some of them have been doing this for just a couple of years. Yeah. Why do coaches do that? As far as I'm concerned, and again, I'm not a science kind of, I mean, I like science, and we do follow a lot of scientific reviews, and we've also been been subscribed to like Mass magazine, and we do get interested in the scientific part of it. But like, please correct me, please somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but is there any literature that says that you have to get really fat to effectively bodybuild?
In that sense.
I don't think so. To bulk? No. I don't think so. There is also this like kind of rule of thumb, especially for men, that when you're very fat, you don't have an optimal production of testosterone. Exactly. You don't have an optimal production of testosterone when you're very lean, but you don't have optimal testosterone production when you're very fat either. No. So then why, as an athlete who wants to compete, who wants to make a career out of it, who wants to really take it as serious as having like this very time-boxed kind of mesocycles and like mass and cut phases and so on, and then get so fat. Yeah. So fat.
But it's not like it's a guarantee, it's not all of them. But we have seen some examples.
A few that are
giga-fat. Yeah. Definitely not stage ready, they're probably 30 weeks out, 20 weeks out.
But again, but then they're so fat that then they need to, like we're talking about a guy that is like roughly your height, like 180, 185 or whatever it is.
78.
Okay, 170, 178, 180 or whatever it is, and he probably has to drop like 20 plus kilos.
Yeah.
Probably more if he keeps bulking, if he keeps getting fat.
Yeah.
There's gonna be more. Why would you do that? I mean, you're bulking very, like cautiously. Yeah, yes.
Almost too cautious.
Almost. Yes.
I've had some weeks where I've been standing still in my weight. And
exactly. So I think that's why we're gonna do, a little bit more aggressive bulk for you. But again, there is a difference between bulking a little more aggressively and going like full retard and going giga fat.
Yeah.
Because again, as I said, what was it? As I said, what goes up has to come down.
Exactly.
So what you put on, you have to drop, and most of it is fat. B, doesn't it actually being so fat actually messes up with your hormones? And you just can't optimally build muscle. You just keep on putting weight, and keep on putting fat, and then you are heavier, which, like, if you're only measuring your weight as part of your bulk, yes, you are getting heavier. But then there's the question: where's that weight coming from?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like really like I've been looking at so many athletes that we saw a few months ago on stage being peeled, and now they are just fat.
Yeah.
Especially our short queen within the category of what was it? Figure. Yes, figure.
Yeah.
She was so nice.
Oh yeah.
And now she has all the chins.
Yeah, it's curious. I'm curious to the strategy. Like, what's the reasoning behind it? Whether it's on purpose or it's simply spilling over too much and maybe overestimating your calories, or it was just, now I say, the month after prep or the month after the competition, you have no real plan because you want to readjust, and maybe you just eat too much, and then you're in it, and you also want to compete the following year. So,
which I mean, to begin with, I think it is a mistake in general with natties.
Yeah.
In general, I don't think that natural athletes, if they're trying to yield the best results of their career, I don't think they necessarily should compete every year. But that's a different, it's a topic for another time. Yeah. But
I see what you mean. Like, it's, what do you want to optimize for? Do you want to be peeled or not peeled, but more cut all year, and so you don't have to lose much at the end of your bulk season, or do you want to build as much muscle as you can? And some people have the idea that you have to be a little bit heavier surplus than you should be.
But this is exactly my point.
Yeah.
Like, of course, the answer is, if I'm an athlete, I want to build the most amount of muscle. This is the correct, objectively correct answer. The question is, by going on a massive surplus, do you actually do that? Do you actually do that? Or you just get super heavy and super fat, and then you're like, okay, I train, I'm heavy as shit, my conditioning is crap, I can't breathe, I'm heavy, it's just like I'm big, it's just my body's just the physical discomfort of it. And not only, and then instead of being 10 weeks or 12 weeks in prep, you have to be 30 weeks in prep. Essentially, you have to be dieting for like 8 months of the year. Why? Because you ate like a, and I don't know if we need to put anything, because I will swear, and you are like a fucking pig in 4 months.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, like it's and honestly, again, I'm dropping a little hate here on the coaches and so on, and I'm happy to take this argument and this like discussion with any of their coaches, but I want to know, I know for sure that some of the coaches are not natural. And my point is that, in consideration, you haven't been natural for like the past 7-8 years and so on. Why do you think you can, really, really coach natural athletes? Like, what do you know? Do you have, like, I don't know.
Depends
like,
if they have experience with coaching natural athletes, but yes, they won't have the same.
But again, the one that I'm referring to, and it's a she.
Yeah.
She has a ton of athletes, and none of them had medals. None of them. Oh yeah, one did, but she was the only one that showed up in a category. So yay, she was the best of one.
Yeah.
And it's just like it just feels like such a ripoff. It just feels such a ripoff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you selling them? Are you really selling these athletes the best possible performance, or are you getting them closer to their goals, or are you just giving them the experience of being an athlete? Meaning, we're gonna do bulk, so what we're gonna do now, we're gonna bulk you up, and you're gonna be very, very bulky, very fat, and so on. And then and now we're gonna cut you, and you're just giving them the experience, but you're not giving them the result. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it just really frustrates me. We see other athletes and other coaches where, you know, they're sitting there and accepting athletes or athlete wannabes that are far too not in a position of actually being conditioned for training. We're seeing girls that, in my humble opinion, have to drop at least 10 kilograms before you can see what you're working with.
Yeah.
Before you turn around and you say, okay, girlfriend, you want to be in a wellness category, let's see what you actually have. Let's see if these legs are, there's actually any muscle on those legs.
If they're actually meant for wellness.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, in truth being said, and then what? You're already giga fat and you are like sitting there doing bulking phases. Why? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. But like you mentioned, like, what are the coaches selling them? Because we don't know what the individuals have agreed on.
Yes, that's true.
Do the athletes go to the coach and say, "Take me to stage. I don't care about the result. I just want to go on the stage next year, whatever the result is."
That's true.
Then,
Put your step on stage. Yeah.
then you could take in anyone.
Yeah.
They don't care about the result. You just want to give them the athlete experience. You want to give them the joy of going through a little bulk and maybe also the cut, and then of course the grueling prep phase where you are even lower in calories.
Yeah, and go get a sparkly bikini and
Exactly.
learn to walk in high heels, which I have a feeling for a lot of women is also a skill that they need to acquire, and yeah, it's a little challenging.
But it's just like you say, it really seems like these athletes are taking it really serious.
Yes, they are, a lot of them.
And still the results are lacking, and whether
Yes.
it's because of lack of training experience, now I mean not experience and not knowing what to do, but just the sheer time spent training.
Yeah.
Because you can get big in a year. You can build some, but you won't be the biggest, baddest on the stage.
Definitely.
And that's, we talked about this before, and do these coaches really give the athletes the best standpoint to really go on stage, or should the coach say, no, I don't think you should go on stage next year, you should go in 2 years, because if you really want to make an impact on the stage.
Yes, that's how I would be, like, you know, the particular athlete that we are talking about that wants to go, a little shade, but now we do refer to her as our favorite screamer, because she does scream, she doesn't grunt, I grunt, other people grunt. You know, she screams.
Yeah.
She also does a lot of funky shit, weird ass crap in terms of exercise that make absolutely no sense, and she keeps herself in a very, again, there's a lot of things that are wrong with her training, but I'm sitting there thinking, if she comes to me and she says, I want to go to competition, I'll be like, girlie, now go and diet and drop 10 kilos, and I want you like under 20% body fat for a female, before I actually see what we're working on, and then I can turn around and say, yeah, I think we can get there next year.
Exactly.
Or I'll be like, no, I think you need to take a gap year, so to say, and
Keep working on your weaknesses.
and you keep working on your weaknesses, because again, if I'm a coach, I wouldn't sit there and put somebody on stage and be like, yeah, that's my athlete, and feel ashamed or feel like I've just taken their money. And I'm sorry, like, honestly, but like, off with their heads. But like, what the hell is this? I understand it's people's means and it's people's business and it's people's rent, and these coaches have to also pay bills and shit like this, but how can you take money off people and train them like this? I wouldn't do that. If I'm to train somebody, and if I'm gonna train you, you know, to go on stage, like, it would not be a cuddle, waddle, kiss on the forehead, and, you know, kind of cradle you to competition. No, bitch, you will be like fucking boot camp, because this is what it takes. And if you're not prepared, this is what it takes. You know, and I'm not talking about dieting, and I'm not talking about fucking eating rice crackers with boiled chicken and zero calorie sauce and all the other nonsense that those fucking coaches, you know, teach their athletes to do, instead of teaching them how to eat well and how to take care of their bodies and so on. And you know, I don't know, it just really grinds me. I think a lot of those coaches are shit. I think they're ripping off young people that want to go on stage and not giving them any of the results. And not taking the hard conversations with them. The conversation that basically you don't want to take right now, but you would be absolutely so fucking grateful that your coach took this conversation with you when they did. Because you could process it, you could figure out what are your weaknesses, and you can work on them, and then when you step, you know what I mean? Make it hard during training, so then on competition time, it's easy.
Yeah.
So, and I have a feeling that those coaches don't do that. And then their athletes just step on stage and it's like, or like for example last year when this coach took in consideration like picking up an athlete 2 weeks away from competition. Would you do that?
Come again, sorry?
Would you do that? Like, would you accept an athlete 2 weeks from competition?
Depends on what you want to portray as a coach. Do you want to portray being having only the best athletes, then only having control of the last few weeks of the...
Absolutely, exactly. I would not do that.
Exactly, because if you only want to have winners because you want to be the best coach, you want to show off, then you can just let go of everything else. Absolutely. But that tends to last a few weeks.
Absolutely, like in the case with Maria and Maria Bang, which is the athlete I'm referring to, she got a coach 2 weeks before her competition or something like this. And then we're looking at this athlete, which clearly has a ton more to work on, in terms of, she had like a ton of feedback and a lot of things to work on. And I'm sitting there thinking, what are the conversation that we were having at the time? Who is her coach? Oh, that guy. And you know what I thought? I'm like, really? And you let her go on stage looking like this?
Exactly.
And again, this taints your image as a coach. I wouldn't come and get somebody just to box a couple of thousands of kronas extra. How fucking low level is this? Yeah. Go get a real job if you can't make real money out of this. And again, don't train athletes. If you're just kind of the feel good kind of cuddle waddle, kiss on the forehead, tap on the back kind of coach, then don't take athletes.
Yeah.
Then don't take athletes. If you are an athlete coach, you gotta give them what they come to you for.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody goes to their coach and says, "Oh, I want to really just put a year of my life focusing on this shit, like eating off a scale and dieting and eating rice cake and chicken for eight months so I can step on stage and spend like a ton of money so I can step on stage and be below average." I would really like that.
Yeah. I
would really like that. And then you go to one of those coaches and they're like, "This is great because you came to the right place, girlfriend. I'm exactly the kind of coach that will get you less than mediocre results."
Yeah.
You're gonna put a ton of work into it and then you're gonna get mediocre results.
Yeah.
But I'll give it a full experience so you can feel your athlete fantasy. And it's just like, what the...
Yeah.
Really grinds my gear. Like, I think this is one of the reasons why I'm not a coach. And if I am to be a coach and if I'm gonna take somebody's money to train them, I'm gonna bloody hell make sure that I get them as far as they can, even if we have to take some of the uncomfortable conversations. And we have taken these conversations with you.
Yes.
About your weaknesses, about your style of training, about how coachable you are, about stuff like doing a more aggressive bulk, talking about like delaying competition exactly, because of course everybody wants to go and say, "Oh, I'm gonna diet for like 3 weeks and I'm gonna go and step on stage and I'm gonna be like the new Natty C-bomb and shit like this." No, bitch. No, it takes a really long time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I too bad?
No, but it's... The thing is, we haven't talked too much with any of these people. So, we don't know what they agreed on. We don't know their dreams, we don't know their expectations, but as we mentioned earlier, they seem so serious.
Yes.
So we would be very surprised if they don't do it to at least make podium. And sometimes it comes across as is they want to do everything. They have, let's say they have 10 months until the competition is starting, and they need, I don't know, 4 months to prep, but they really need more mass. What do you do? Do you push it extra hard? Do you gain extra mass, or do you just keep pushing? You might already be too fat, but you're in a pickle time-wise. Nothing
Yes.
really matches up because the show will happen whether you're ready or not.
Yeah. And again, you're sitting there and thinking, oh, I want to gain like couple of kilos of lean muscle mass, and we do know that for optimal in optimal conditions, perfect recovery, perfect training, perfect nutrition, perfect everything, the average male can put probably 400 to 500 grams of lean muscle mass in like the absolutely optimal conditions a month. And for females, this is between 250 and 300 grams. So as a female, if you want to put 2-3 kilos and you want all of them to go in your ass because that's the category you want to be in, well, bitch, it ain't gonna happen in 3 months. You're not gonna put 2 or 3 kilos of ass in 4 months. What you're gonna do, you're gonna put like 2 or 3 kilos of fat, and you're gonna get so fat, and then you have to extend your cut period because you got so fucking fat.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, I am like our short queen. I'm like really looking forward to see what she's gonna come up with. And if this year stepping on stage she looks exactly the same, which I think she will, because
We'll see if it has bared any fruits. Her bulking efforts. She's taking it seriously, at least.
The bulking is
the food part.
The food part is the food part. She's taken very seriously. And again, I'm sitting there thinking, it's just I don't know. However I think about it, it doesn't make sense.
No.
And there's like so much shade. I'm throwing so much shade on those coaches because I really feel that this is really scammy, and I have a feeling that as a coach you have such a great responsibility. It's a little bit like being a doctor or being a dietitian or being a shrink.
Yeah.
There's so much responsibility because the work that you do with the athlete, it has like such a huge impact on their day-to-day life. It's like you are like it's like what you say and what you do with them and around the work that you do with them has such a massive influence on their day-to-day life, and it's such a big part of their their focus, their well-being, and so on. And like taking their money for a year or two to be their coach, and then they step on stage and they don't do like that much better than last time. To me, this is a ripoff.
Yeah.
And I think this is why I so now, and again, it's not me tooting my own horn, but like from what I've seen is like coaches around us, and I like to think that we have some of the more serious ones. A lot of them are also athletes themselves. Honestly, I wouldn't pay a dime for any of them to coach me.
No.
I would pay money for me to coach me, and I am currently. No, but I mean, like, I want to take a coach because I don't think that anybody can do a better job than me. Like, I don't think that anybody can give me anything. Like, of course, the moral and emotional support I can get from my family, from my friends, from you. But like, coaching-wise, what the fuck do you know? Yeah. No offense, what, you have like a 2-day certificate?
Yeah.
Or what? Or just because you have clients? Well, big deal. For the fact that there are some fools that are paying you money for you to scam them doesn't mean shit.
I guess we'll see. And I think on that note, we did promise Luna will be here until the end of the episode.
Yeah, that's true.
She's gone, so I think that's a sign for us to wrap it up. So any last remarks? Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just like really winded up, and it just really pisses me off. I hate people doing a poor job and so on, and especially when it's something that is so impactful. So a lot of hate on coaches, and maybe we can
make a zoom in one of the coming Sundays.
Yes, absolutely. And again, I do want to critique some people, and I do want to talk about it. So then, hopefully, it's not just me ranting about stuff, but like pointing out things that people don't see, or like not seeing the cracks. And it's very easy to go and try to find a coach and just look at their Instagram and see how many followers they have or how many clients, or some very strategically positioned before and after pictures and so on. And it doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that that they are a good coach. And maybe we can talk a little bit about it and a lot about a philosophy and maybe what you can do for yourself instead of actually going and paying somebody else. Or when you pay somebody your hard-earned cash, to really, really be critical about what exactly do you get out of it, and is it worth, or is it just a feel-good kind of a, as I said, is it really a coach, or is it somebody to give you thumbs up and tell you you're doing a good job? Because again, you have to be clear about what you're giving money for.
Yeah. What's the expected outcome of
exactly, what you want. You have to be clear about what you want, what you're getting out of it, what you're paying for. And yeah, and again, it really grinds my gears. I think that it's really, really wrong, and it's very, very scammy. Yeah, but maybe I should really stop because I'm spiraling a little bit. So yeah, and I hope that it was like a little insightful to other people. Maybe next time we can actually have some accounts showing and talking about specific people. So we're not like little pussies sitting there dropping hate on some imaginary or like mystery people, but you know, we can put our money where our mouth is and just talk more specifically about people. And it's more me hating on them. You are very
I'm more neutral.
More neutral and more open-minded, and I guess more forgiving than me. So, but I have no compassion. I'm just a little hater troll.
So say goodbye and plug your socials, like and share.
Absolutely.
Follow.
Well, you can catch my socials, I guess, wherever you're listening to or watching this. You can catch me on She Rides in almost any platform. And if you do have and if you do have any questions or you have any comments and you want to tell us of how we're just fucking trolls and we don't know shit about shit, feel free to do so. And yeah, I guess we'll see you next week.
Exactly.